as somebody who's as a guy who's got 3 kids, 3 daughters.
Look at you.
Doesn't matter.
Girl dad.
And I run the Golden State Warriors. And I see where we are right now with Steph Curry winding down, with our big 3 getting a little bit older, 4 titles in the bag. I know that we may have to reset. I know we may take a little dip. I ain't elevating my son now. Sorry. Why would I do that? This is going to be a hard job.
Oh,
for somebody.
no doubt.
But
what a way, if he were somehow, they were to navigate it and get back, right back, how good would that look then?
Okay, here's that sound goo that you were talking about, and I believe this was at the beginning of the year, E?
It's from the Tim Kawakami show, just on the other side of January, earlier this year in 2023.
Let's take a listen.
He's done a phenomenal job. He's been executive of the year, and deservedly so. If you look back at over his 10-year career, we don't tend not to talk about Bob, but Bob's done an incredible job. Bob, the Andre Iguodala signing, I look back and say that was, actually, you guys will never understand how difficult that was. He had to clear a lot of space to do that. He did a phenomenal job. Kevin Durant was really his idea and execution, and that brought us 2 championships. So look, Bob's great. Bob's done a great job, but we also do have a tremendous organization beneath him, great depth. I'd like to think more depth than almost any organization, with really good people, and he's supported very well. And so, look, I don't want him to go. I don't think he'll go anywhere. I expect him to be here, and it would hurt to lose him, certainly. But like you said, I mean, we have to just go forward. So there are circumstances that do evolve sometimes, and I guess it's conceivable. There's some chance that for some reason he or Steve wouldn't be here. I don't think it's likely, but it is possible. And so, we'd have to figure out a way to go forward.
Dude, where did Steve come from? I understand, but he threw Steve in the pot. I didn't get that the first time. And I got to tell you and Evan and Spadoni, it's been a Sex and the City weekend. We've been watching it all over, me and the wife.
What?
And Sex and the City, HBO with the girls.
Oh, you actually okay. So you're actually watching the old HBO show. All right.
Steiny, go on down.
No,
Shout out Blue Chew.
I have a wife.
But listening to Joe Lacob talk about Bob Myers was like my wife saying, Guru's a great lover, but I've had some other great lovers too. That's how that felt. Like, you're taking away from me being great, Steiny. Then he threw Steve in there. Wow. That was heavy. We shouldn't be shocked.
Well, I'm not, because I know Joe Lacob's a killer. You never acknowledge he's a killer. He's a businessman.
No, well,
come on, Goo.
He's
not. He doesn't have ties.
But this was Bob's decision, by all accounts. So when you say killer,
so let's think about it from this point of view. And you know, by the way, let me make it clear. The guy sitting across from me.
What happened?
You're just such my man. I can't even tell you.
What are you talking?
I can't even tell you.
I gave you a bad analogy.
You are
HBO.
no. You are so freaking smart about some stuff. It's unbelievable. But anyway, now I lost my train of thought about.
My God.
Bob's a killer.
Yeah, Joe's a killer.
Talk to me.
Joe Lacob's a killer, and I just. What if Joe Lacob did offer Bob Myers the biggest general manager contract in the history of general manager contracts? Bob walked away from it? Wow. Why?
Great answer here.
To
I'm
spend time with his family.
Or Joseph the Dreamer on YouTube said, and Steiny, this is real, Bob doesn't want anything to do with breaking up the big three.
Maybe. Yeah.
Now, that's mob movie type of loyalty. Like, that I could see that. Like, I don't want anything to do with that. And then how many times has he told us face to face or anytime we had him on the executive show how much he appreciates Dre and just their dynamic in their relationship? Maybe that's real, Steiny. Because the new dude could come in here, hey, Steiny, I'm your new boss, close the door. Hey, buddy, look, it ain't working. And have no emotional ties to it. And, you know, you staying or you going? Or you don't even have a choice.
You know, the other thing, too, is, you know, Joe Lacob made it clear that Bob had 2 offers in front of him, and that was in January or February. And then maybe there was another offer made in the last month or two that. So if I mean, the logic tells you if Joe Lacob made at least 2 offers, which is what he said, so the first offer maybe wasn't great. And maybe that
turned him off.
Well, maybe that started to set the table.
Yeah.
Who knows? Mike in the city, but we'll find out hopefully more information at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, Bob Myers press conference live here on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Mike, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Memorial Day weekend. Hope y'all doing good. Well, I was calling earlier to try to talk about Bob Myers and how I think it's honestly the beginning of the end for the Warriors. The caller before the last was mentioning Steve Kerr's end of the year press conference and how he was talking about, how him and Bob are really close and how, they talked and all that. And I think Steve Kerr honestly said a lot because when they asked him about Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay returning, he was confident that they will all be back. But when they asked him about Bob, he was like, yeah, I don't know. Bob is still trying to figure things out. So I don't know if Steve Kerr just kind of said it without saying it that, like Bob is leaving because there's maybe the big 3 coming back and Bob is not with that. I don't know if there's much more to it than we're looking at. I think the 2 timelines had a big thing to do with this. And I think, Bob is not done with being a GM. I think he's just done with this whole situation that just, keeps digging the hole deeper and deeper. So that's all I got. And I just want to say, hey, Steiny with the 1, Goo with the 2. And if you ain't listening to 95.7, you was a damn fool. Have a good day, y'all.
Bars.
Mike. Thanks, Mike.
He might be messing with Evan. Evan special. Oops.
707 says Steiny Larry Riley drafted Klay. I think you're right. But you know what? Jerry West gets all the credit for Klay. Doesn't he? Everybody equates Klay with Jerry West, which is unfair to Larry Riley. I can't remember if Riley was there, Myers was under him, or Mike.
So speaking of which, we had a donation. From Ernie Chavez. Travis Schlenk, could he be on the short list? And before you answer, I want to throw JW on there. Could Jerry West come back?
I think Jerry's kind of getting up there.
Well, Hubie Brown's up there still doing his thing.
I think Jerry's going to be more of a consultant. All right. Plus,
Chris Mullins, Steiny.
Plus, let's not forget, Jerry West and Joe Lacob did not part amicably.
Yeah. No, you are right. That you are correct, sir. So before you grab a call, Andre Iguodala, I forget who was his partner, the dude that used to be on the Sixers. He did the podcast with Evan is Google. When they had Steph on there and they went back and forth about the 2 timelines and how the organization, how they were just floored that the organization could think they could win with young guys. Now I'm trying to be Perry Mason. Who got blamed for that, Steiny? Were they mad at Myers? And not hate. Were they mad at Kerr? Were they mad at Lacob? I got to believe Bob Myers, that's his job. And who came up with 2 timelines? It don't matter who the author was. The bottom line is the organization tried to pull it off. I just wonder from a player standpoint, who were they mad at? I believe Steve Kerr was the last one because he didn't want to play the young guys. So I believe he's not even an option as an answer.
Who?
Steve Kerr. So it had to be Lacob or Myers when you talk about this 2 timeline thing.
Well, I think, and this is what I think happened was, as we've said a lot, Klay suffered his second injury on the day of the NBA draft. And I just think at that point, knowing Klay was going to be gone, that it made the Wiseman choice easier. Because you thought, well, we got a whole year to develop him next year because we're not winning it. And Wiseman starts out of the gate. He struggles, though. Then he gets hurt. Now the next thing you know, the next year comes around, and they got everybody healthy, and they get rolling at 18-2, and Wiseman gets hurt again or is banged up, and he's not doing it. I think that Wiseman was essentially Joe Lacob's selection.
Okay.
Even though it's a group decision, but I think Wiseman was mostly Joe Lacob's decision, and I think that over time, the veterans started to resent that they went that young, meaning Joe Lacob wanted to go that young, that quickly after Clay's second injury.
What do you do with that resentment? Because what they did is go win a title that nobody saw coming but Stephen A. But does that fester? What do you do with that resentment?
No, I don't know. I think it shows up in a pod that Iguodala does with Evan Turner, where he talks about how he feels like the organization thinks it's easy to win titles by just bringing 3 young guys in, and the veterans will tutor them, and boom, we got it.
Damn. Now that's the answer, Steiny.
Carlito in Alameda.
Gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen. Listen, I think it's sad to see Bob leave, but it's a great opportunity for the future. If I had the job, first order of business, trade away Draymond Green and make Jordan Poole the focal point of the team, even over Steph Curry. It's time to think about the future, and I think J.J. Redick would be the man for the job. Thank you.
All right.
What, JJ?
I'm out on that.
Well, he had a head coaching interview. Who was it with?
Kenny Atkinson? I thought you were talking about
Redick, JJ Redick. Toronto interviewed him.
Oh, I was saying, I was just talking about having the keys to Jordan Poole.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Alan's in New York City. Hey, Alan.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Sorry, I'm at work. Big Warriors fan, been a Warriors fan for a couple of years, ever since Derrick Rose hit that game winner on Klay Thompson way back when. But I just want to tell you guys, you guys are on point in general. Guru, I completely agree with you what you said earlier, where Chris Mullins would be a good replacement for the GM position of Bob Myers. I genuinely believe, like one of the callers said, that Bob Myers got burnt out. It's disappointing to see him go. He's like 100% a people person, like you guys said. And I think the majority of the Warriors players definitely enjoyed him as who he was as a person. He's been on the podcast with Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, and Iguodala, and he should get his flowers for what he did given that great amount of talent that we've had now. You guys say that the young guys are crucial, and they believe that in that 2 storyline that they believe the young guys can win, and I think so. We have Moses Moody, PB&J, who's going to take a while, and Kamingo, and with the charismatic and very much egotistical JP, I think those guys are solid. Like the way we play, it's very much you can copy it. You see the rest of the league copying our little offensive scheme with their pick and rolls and their off screens as well. But I think Bob Myers gave us a lot more to work with before he stepped down. So that's just really what I want to say, and we'll get back to it. Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate it, Alan.
New York.
I don't know there's any way how they're going to miss Bob Myers, or hey, maybe they won't skip a beat. Maybe they're going to draft somebody at 19 who's their 6th man next year.
Or maybe Draymond Green tells Joe tomorrow after this presser, Bob's gone, I'm out. Because he knows what life would be like with this team and organization without him.
But isn't that the thing, though? Yeah. We don't. Like, Draymond Green was in the first draft class of Bob Myers as GM, so he doesn't know. Like, none of us really know what life is going to be like without Bob Myers.
Right. What I was saying, Evan, though, with all the things like the Draymond Green incident to where he got suspended for 1 game. Draymond didn't get suspended for punching Jordan Poole. Draymond Green and company know how much input Bob had. Do I use the word saving them or keeping them from being suspended for a substantial amount of time? So when that person, the advocate, Evan, leaves, I think the person knows, okay, if I were to pop off, if something were to go wrong, the guy that had my back is no longer here. I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and there could be a million different scenarios that we didn't even think of. Like, what if Bob Myers actually wants to move off Draymond Green? Wow. And Joe Lacob is saying we can't move off of Draymond Green.
Hadn't thought of that.
Or vice versa. And that's why I don't think it's anything like that. I don't. And I also don't think if the Warriors are going to offer Draymond Green 3 for 75 or 80, I think he's taking it whether Bob Myers is here or not.
All right.
So Bob Myers' departure only affects Draymond Green insofar as, well, what kind of contract are you going to give Draymond, if any?